Hi, my name is Toby Pierce. I'm with the Northeast Church of Christ in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I'd like to share a devotional thought with you today. If you would, read with me, if you open your Bibles to Matthew 13, we're looking at beginning in verse 24. Jesus is speaking, and it says, "He put another parable before them, saying, The kingdom of heaven may be compared to a man who sowed good seed in his field. But while his men were sleeping, his enemy came and sowed weeds among the wheat and went away. So when the plants came up and bore grain, then the weeds appeared also. And the servants of the master of the house came and said to him, 'Master, did you not sow good seed in your field? How then does it have weeds?' He said to them, 'An enemy has done this.' So the servant said to him, 'Then do you want us to go and gather them?' And he said, 'No, lest in gathering the weeds you root up the wheat along with them. Let both grow together until the harvest. And at harvest time, I will tell the reapers, gather the weeds first and bind them into bundles to be burned, but gather the wheat into my barn.'" And then a little later, Jesus explains the parable. If you drop down to verse 36, it says, "Then he left the crowds and went into the house, and his disciples came to him, saying, 'Explain to us the parable of the weeds of the field.' He answered, 'The one who sows the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world, and the good seed is the sons of the kingdom. The weeds are the sons of the evil one, and the enemy who sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the age, and the reapers are angels. Just as the weeds are gathered and burned with fire, so it will be at the end of the age. The Son of Man will send his angels, and they will gather out of his kingdom all causes of sin and all lawbreakers, and throw them into the fiery furnace. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then the righteous will shine like the sun in the kingdom of their Father. He who has ears, let him hear." Well, it's springtime and the flowers are blooming. Redbud trees, apple trees, other fruit trees are blooming. Irises are blooming. We have a neighbor just not far from us that has an iris. It's maybe like 6 or 7 inches tall, but it's got a full bloom on it. It's just amazing. The weeds are growing too. You know, it's not hard to find weeds around here that in some places that are 3 feet tall or more. And they're all bloomed out in all their weed glory. You know, our young people and our young adults recently de-weeded some yards for some of our members. The weeds in those yards were easy to spot because there weren't any issues with planted crops of wheat in those yards. But in the parable, we read that there were issues, perhaps, of determining what was weed and what was wheat. Well, of course, the weed and the wheat in the parable really represent people, and it's our relationship to God that determines whether we are wheat or whether we're weeds. Jesus said, "The good seed is the sons of the kingdom. The weeds are the sons of the evil one." You know, we spend a lot of resources growing weeds as a society. You know, just as God sends the rain on the just and on the unjust, we spend our resources in many ways that way too. You know, people, whether wheat or weeds, have felt needs and real needs. You know, felt needs are basically wants and wishes and hopes and changes or results a person thinks are necessary for their lives. A lot of resources get thrown at people, especially in a non-believing society. We throw resources at people, counselors that are not believers, that stroke people's egos and make them feel good about living in ways that God doesn't want you to live. Jeremiah 6 and verse 14 says, "They have healed the wound of my people lightly, saying, 'Peace, peace,' when there is no peace." We try to soothe people from their perceived troubles without really getting to the root of their trouble. And then there are real needs. One basic real need that everyone has is God's forgiveness. Sometimes we throw resources at people hoping to solve real needs, but we throw resources at them with felt need solutions. Perhaps someone's marriage is a wreck, and we teach them communication skills and problem-solving skills and relationship improving techniques, and how to come up with romantic ideas and such. Well, those things can help to some extent, but unless the two people really share a love for God and a selfless spirit about themselves, wanting the best for each other and not being selfish, it's not until you get to that kind of a root of the issue as a child of God that you can really have the kind of marriage that God would want you to have. The real need, trust in God. Give yourself to God. Make that relationship right. And your other relationships, whether they fall into place really or not, those will be right with God because you'll make it that way, because your relationship to Him is right. Remember, too, that we all used to be weeds. We're all weeds that died and were born anew into fruit-bearing crops. And no doubt we're all grateful to someone who shared God with us. Let's try to be a people who share God with others. We're all grateful to be children of the King. Let's live the best we can as salt and light in this world. And let's try to help others find the King. I hope you have a blessed day. Thank you for listening.